When I woke up in the hospital and looked down at my legs wrapped in bloody bandages and realized that I had lost my arm, it was a lot to deal with at that young age.
If you're struggling right now with the battle of your mind, or you're facing an illness or medical condition, or just need guidance and some inspiration, then this message is going to be just for you, and you're going to want to stay tuned. Imagine being told as a young man that you might lose both your legs, and then years later facing the unthinkable, loss of an arm. Today, my guest Richard Conover shares his incredible story of perseverance, faith, finding purpose through pain. This is not just a story about loss, it's a story about victory through Christ. We're going to title this message From Pain to Purpose, From Loss of a Limb to Love of the Lord, and how Richard Conover found Christ and navigated life. Welcome to Lessons for Life with Dr. Ron. Today it is Lessons for Life with Dr. Ron, Bill, and Richard. We are here at Seat to Table in sunny Naples, Florida. We hope that you would stop by if you're ever in the area. We're appreciative of this facility to do our recording. We're appreciative to Alfie. It's an amazing place. And again, if you're ever in Naples, please come by. We usually, after the recording, will have some coffee downstairs. We'd love to meet you personally. And in addition, we'd love to have your testimony, as Richard is kind enough to do today, taking his time to share some stories with us that's going to touch many lives. Again, Lessons for Life was founded on testimony. It's taking you out of it and sharing something that you've faced, something that's been gifted to you, something you've walked through that may touch that very person, maybe you right now, that's watching in this video. And again, we have Rock and Roll Richard here today. That's what I'm going to brand him. He didn't know that, but we got Rock and Roll Richard. From pain to purpose, from loss of limb to love of the Lord. And I hope this really touches your heart. If you like these messages, please gently tap the like button. And many of you, we noticed, have not subscribed. So if you're following us on YouTube, please subscribe. That'll help get this out to many more people. People ask how they can help us, and hitting that subscribe button doesn't cost you a thing and really helps us tremendously. And we also want to thank our sponsor, BetterHelp, but more on that later. And also, we are part of an Amazon affiliate program, and you'll see links in the description below. So now I want to move forward welcoming Richard. And today I wrote down that I have the honor of sitting with someone whose story will inspire anyone going through hardship. Richard Conover's journey is one of courage, endurance, and unshakable faith. From facing possible amputation of both legs as a young man to losing an arm later in life, Richard's testimony reminds us that with God, even in the deepest valleys, there is hope and purpose. And with that introduction, I'm going to let Richard take over. I do want to start the questions that I have for you based on your background. And the first question I wrote down was, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what your childhood looked like, and also what your family values and those influences that you experienced in your younger years may have shaped who you are today.
Absolutely.
So take over.
And Ron, I want to thank you for having me on this morning. It really is an honor to be here as well. And, we had met each other a little more than a year ago. And just as you claimed to be impressed with me, I was impressed with you as well. So I'm happy to be here. And
you have to interrupt. You just remind me, he is on for the second time. He was one of our very first guests on Lessons for Life. So I apologize. I didn't put that in there. Yeah, Richard was amazing. And I was so touched by him. And he said kind words about me, which I paid him for, but that's okay.
Not enough, right? So we'll kind of start at the beginning. You want to know a little bit about what my life was like? Well, I was raised a Catholic and spent my entire 12 years of education in a Catholic school. My parents were hardworking, regular people. My father was a janitor. He did suffer from alcoholism. My mother was a school teacher. She had a heart the size of Texas. It's all she wanted to do was to reach out to children and help them. Our family unit, while we had the same stresses that all families have in the 70s, things were changing, society was different. The rock and roll music was affecting people's lives. There were the Vietnam War. There was a lot of things going on. Our family had dinner every evening at the table together. Religious training was very important to my mother. She was a Catholic. My father was not. He had agreed when they married to raise us as Catholics. So my childhood was centered around the church. I was an altar boy. I also, at a very young age, I enjoyed reading in public. So I would read the homilies, and I read the Bible every day. And when I got to high school, I really focused on reading the New Testament. And my belief was that the New Testament and Jesus' coming was a true overturning of the old ways. And the reason why I'm taking some time on this is because it set the stage for one of the greatest challenges that I was going to face as a young man. I needed to have rock solid faith. I needed to believe that there was hope, and that there was something, that we were all meant for something more than just this temporal existence. So at age 21, I had a bad motorcycle accident. I was full of piss and vinegar. I was on a fast track to nowhere, really just partying my head off. And I crashed a motorcycle into a set of guardrails, cost me my right arm on the scene, and I nearly lost both legs. I was at the height of what I considered to be my physical capabilities. I was 21 years old, into sports, into girls. Thankfully,
I was just going to ask you that. Were you real active as a kid? That was the question I had for you.
Totally. I was into sports and motorcycles and everything outdoors, hunting, fishing, all of that. I was a really active young person. So when I woke up in the hospital and looked down at my legs wrapped in bloody bandages and realized that I had lost my arm, it was a lot to deal with at that young age.
Can't imagine.
But I was prepared for it. And the reason I was prepared for it is because I had faith that I was going to get through this, and that there was something more for me on the other end of this. My job through all of this, what I believe God told me my job was to put everything I could into recovering, and to have belief that I'm going to be able to walk again someday, and that I'm going to have a regular, normal life. No, not just a regular, normal life, but a wonderful life. And I never, ever wavered in that. There were moments in the first couple of weeks where things looked bleak, and when it looked like I was going to lose another leg, and to be that young and to be faced with a challenge, I am just grateful and lucky that I had understood that God had a plan for me. And it didn't end on July 31st, 1985. That's when I crashed. It was just the beginning. That challenge changed the direction of my life and prepared me for the next 40 years on how I was going to approach life without an arm and with legs that didn't work like everybody else's. So I'm grateful that I had the strength going into this. So I was able to rely on the faith that I had that I was going to get through this, and to let it go and concentrate on what my job was, which was to stay positive, to stay focused, to listen to the doctors, to set goals. So my legs were pretty crushed in the accident.
A couple questions. We'll talk about that too. As far as you made a comment how you got into the Bible, there's so many people, including my own mother and father, who just recently, I was born and raised in Catholicism, never opened the Bible, but always had a desire, always wanted to. And then when I would open the Genesis, second line, start falling asleep. But for you, how did you get there? Like who gave you that guidance? How did you already have that tool? Because many people watching, they are going to wonder, how do they get out of this crisis they're in? How do they turn? Where do they begin? And you already had that, it sounds like, to lean on and carry you. How did that take place? Was it your mother and father that bestowed that in you?
There's a lot of talk about a personal relationship with God and Jesus, and I think a lot of people maybe don't really understand what that means. And when you realize that your relationship with God is personal, it means it's with you. So how do you get through something like this? Well, I surrendered the pain, I surrendered the uncertainty, and just let it go, and believed that I had everything I needed inside me to succeed. So
you had made a comment in the first interview. You said one of your kind of affirmations was, you go, I'm missing an arm, but I think you said, but I have the other. But I have my. And
this is true. This is we talk about gifts from God, right? There are stories in the Bible about God, a rich father giving his sons talents. There's an expression, when the potato farmer prayed for a good crop, God sent him a hoe. So what I really, what is clear to me is that God has already given us everything that we need to be successful in life and to be happy. And the personal end of this comes in when we start to look inside us. We can't control what goes on around us. The war in Ukraine, the crazy social media, assassinations, and all of that noise on the outside. It's evil. Call it what you want, but you don't have to let it in. You can construct your own world that is built on peace and love.
When you were raised, I just made a note. I didn't think of this before we sat down. On 2 prior interviews, I had 2 giant men. I call them Big Bill and Big Boxer Paul. Both, I asked them questions about, just as men, what do you feel about, is it okay to cry, number one? And how is your feeling or upbringing with regard to a mother or father actually expressing their love, saying, I love you? This is kind of going off the rabbit trail for a moment, but because we had this conversation in 2 other recent interviews, there are a lot of young men and women that have never been told by their mom or dad that their mother and father say that they're proud of them. You have men that raise their young boys to be men, and part of that is that young men don't cry.
Yeah.
Because this has been, again, brought up several times, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, just as a sidebar question as men, about those issues.
Absolutely. Now, I am extremely grateful to my parents for them raising me in a home of love. My father was an alcoholic, and there were times when he was not in the home. There were times when he did terrible things to our family. And there were times where, as a young man, I questioned, how could my dad love me and do these things to me? Eventually, my father helped me to understand what his disease was about, his weakness. And through all of this, I always felt loved. And my wife and I talk about this. The greatest gift that my parents gave me is I always felt loved and cared for. I never felt as a child that I was on my own. I never felt that there wasn't somebody looking out for me. And we're all frail humans. We are all imperfect. And my parents were no more equipped to do the job of parenting than I am, but they did the very best they could. And they gave me, and this is how our family operates. We have our struggles and we have our challenges, and raising children isn't easy, but they know that we love them. And we went out of our way to make sure that our family unit was tight, and that people, that our children understood that we love them and that the world is a good place. So I think that's crucial, Ron. And that is the duty of a parent above all else.
So many children don't get that, unfortunately.
I agree.
I'm humbled and touched by what you just said. But unfortunately, so many of the people watching right now, they don't get that from their mother and father.
So how do you fill that void? I mean, that's the next question. If you're raised in a family where you didn't feel loved, where you felt that you were alone and that you had to take care of yourself, where do you turn? How do you replace that hole in your heart? Well, again, I haven't been through that, so I can only guess, but my belief is that you have to fill that hole from within. We want to share ourselves with another person, with a family, with the world. We want to share our love, but if we're empty inside, we have nothing to share. So strife and all the things that we go through, solution isn't out there. The solution is here. You need to turn inside. You need to realize that you're a good person, that you have a purpose, that you can change you can change the world one person at a time, just like we're doing here. That somebody out there is going to hear something that's going to resound with them. I don't pretend to have answers for everybody. I can only tell you what I've been through, and the way I see it. And 40 years since my accident, I lived the same life that you did, Ron, that Bill did, and that many people out here did. I still had problems at work. I still had problems at home. I still had, children that needed to be taken care of, bills to be paid, all sorts of things. So for me, being able to get through such a challenge at a young age helped me to put those things in perspective. And this is what the best advice I can give you is: you need to put the negative in perspective. Put it where it belongs, out there, not in your heart. And your heart will change your life. If you take on the world with a song in your heart and love, and this is not dopey magic. This is just the way it works. The world is a reciprocal thing. You get what you give, and it is a simple law of physics.
That right there, as I say, is a masterclass. So if you haven't gotten ready to rewind, you're going to need to do that. There's so many gems and jewels in this conversation that you are definitely going to want to rewind it and listen to that again. I think your comment about wholeness too. We did a relationship series. I think we're over to part 5, going on maybe part 6. And I love what you said. I think even in relationships, so many people, I've seen this. I've been through a divorce. Bill's been through a divorce. So many people lean on other people to find comfort and to feel like they're fulfilled when they're not fulfilled within themselves. So I love how you said, finding that peace, that centrality and wholeness within you. And then you and a partner can just amplify each other in that case.
Absolutely.
Instead of maybe infiltrating negativity or leaning or expectations that just don't really build what would be a successful marriage or successful relationship. I hope you are enjoying Lessons for Life with Dr. Ron. Now, a quick thank you to our sponsor, BetterHelp. Thanks, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this video. Ever thought your life would look a certain way by now? Career, family, milestones, and it just didn't? It's normal to feel like you've fallen behind. Life changes, graduating, changing jobs, becoming a parent, and facing empty nest can really affect your mental health. If you haven't seen a therapist yet, what's holding you back? And if you have, you know how life-changing it can be. A therapist listens, asks questions, and gives you tools to help you see things differently and make positive changes. BetterHelp makes starting therapy easy. Fill out a quick questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist in a few days, and switch anytime if it's not a right fit. No extra cost. With thousands of reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform you can trust. Click the link in the description below or go to betterhelp.com/Dr. Ron to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/DRRON to get 10% off your first month. Now let's get back to the podcast. You were mentioning about your legs kind of divert. You were having issues, which I don't know that I was even aware. I kind of pulled you away about men crying and about being told that you're loved by your family. Tell me a little bit about the legs, difficulty you had there, disability you might have faced. And the question I also want to ask, which goes into your arm as well, I wrote down, did you ever question why me?
Yeah. Well, we'll start with that because that's the obvious thing. Yeah. I mean, why me is a loaded question though. There is no answer to why me. I believe that there's a plan for our life, but it's not nefarious. And, things are going to happen to us along the way. Survival, it's survival. It is, our time on this earth is short and it's filled with strife, and it's just the way it is. You look outside and nature is beautiful, but it is full of life and death. At the same time, this constant balance of life and death. It's beauty, it's despair and hope, and it's all of that. Our responsibility to ourselves is to live in the light, to live in the hope, to live in the joy, to live in the idea that we can conquer our foes and the evils out there. So as far as being emotional, I think if a man, I don't cry all the time, but I do cry. And when something is that emotional to me and it means that much to me, it's important to be able to cry. And it's important to be able to share your emotions and not, I'm not, running off everything and being a weepy person, because that's not strength either. You need to be strong. And especially in a relationship, your partner will rely on you to be strong when your partner needs you to be strong. And your partner will be there for you when you need them to be strong. But if you don't share and open your heart, it's as if there's a wall between the two of you, and and maybe a window, but there's no real communication. So I just think, we get more out of life in general when we enjoy the range of emotions that we're able to experience, whether it's elation or tears. And there was a day when I was laying in my hospital bed, and it was the first time that the bandages came off of my left leg. And, the nurses and doctors were careful to not tell me the true extent of my injuries. They saw that I had a positive attitude, and they didn't want to crush it. So they didn't share with me what they thought the outcome was. But when I looked at that left leg, and it had a Hoffman device on it, it looks like a metal Tinker Toy device, metal pins going through my legs at 6 different spots, and then on my foot, holding the foot on with metal rods down the side. It was like a cast, but so they could perform surgeries on that foot. So much of the leg was missing. I had lost 2.5 inches of length. They took muscles from my stomach and wrapped it around that wound to help it heal, and then multiple surgeries to shrink that. Well, when I looked at it and I saw the gaping hole, I cried, and I was sure I was going to lose that leg. And I had thought my challenges might be over, but it looked like maybe they weren't. And getting through that it really changed everything for me, to realize that I was going to be all right, even if I did lose it, Ron. Even if I did lose the leg, I was going to be all right. But I didn't. I was able to keep it. And this is a testimony to faith. I didn't know how injured I was. In my mind, I believed if you had broken legs, that in 8 weeks, your legs would be healed enough that you could walk. 8 weeks from the day of my accident, I was able to get up and take a 20-foot walk with bars to help me, and a cane and a crutch under my missing arm. And my nurses, my rehab people that work on me to rehab, my doctors were all down in that room, and we all cried when I took those steps, because it wasn't supposed to happen. And that is truly about faith. It didn't rush. It didn't make my injuries heal faster, but it helped my heart and my ego and my mind to be able to deal with it and say, I can overcome this. And that was a crucial point in my recovery, where I realized I'm going to make it, and I'm going to be able to do whatever I want to do in life.
He's stealing all my thunder, because where I was moving from the leg to the arm, I wrote down what was the hardest part of adapting afterwards, physically and mentally. And then you just mentioned preparation. I said, how did you prepare mentally and spiritually for that surgery and the recovery? So you touched on that. Any difficulty, as far as the adapting points afterwards and how it affected you, mind, body, and emotion? And then another caveat to that is, how about friends, family, coworkers? How did anybody around you respond to this whole process?
Sure. So my friends and my family were amazing. The first thing that I saw when I woke up in the trauma center was my family and friends gathered around me. My mother was a devoted mother. She came to see me every day. I quickly made friends in the hospital, and everybody was very supportive of me. And I have to tell you, they all fed back to me the inspiration that they said they were receiving from me. So my example of bravery, my example of wanting to take on the challenge, and I had a smile on my face most of the time. That display of emotion, that display of strength, that display of faith and hope gave the people around me faith and hope. and they gave it back to me. So that was a crucial part of my recovery. And, getting back out into the world, there was the hospital, then there was a rehab center, and there were 2 years of not really having a normal life, being, doctor's appointments. And
think about that, 2 years,
and
not 2 months.
Not 2 months, and it was 2 years, but, it was my life. It was what I was living. So, feedback from my doctors and from my therapist made me believe that I was on the right track. They would say, "My God, you're doing fantastic, Rich." So the biggest challenge wasn't necessarily the loss of the limb. I have 5 fingers. So we got around that. The legs still to this day, give me problems because they're not right. And, sometimes they swell up, but hey, I've got 2 legs and I can get up from this chair and walk out of here if I want to right now. I don't have to put on a prosthetic. I don't need a wheelchair. I'm fortunate to be here. So, maybe I've got bad legs, but I can walk on them and I can wear shoes. There are people out there that can't put shoes on because they don't have feet. So I'm a lucky guy.
Well, we're going to get Bill in here in a minute, but I want to have Richard hear a couple of scriptures. So to lean on scriptures, I wrote down Romans 8:28, which says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him." Scripture that I want you to look up. Take your Bibles out. Check out Romans 8:28. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness." Think about that one, 2 Corinthians 12:9. Powerful verse, James 1, verses 2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds." We've talked about that. Bill and I have talked about James chapter 1, verses 2-4 many times. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. And we're talking about that. And our title today is From Pain to Purpose, from loss of a limb, he almost lost both his legs, to the love of the Lord, and how Richard found Christ and navigated life. We got rock and roll Richard here today. And another question I had for you is just, while you were going through this suffering, during the course of it, how did you really go after God? Did that bring you deeper into your faith in the midst of all these trials?
Well,
and how do you view suffering now?
Sure. Well, suffering is a part of life. It is a part of our existence here, and it does test us, and it does give us a path to strength. I definitely believe that. So here's how God, and specifically the teachings of Jesus, help me every day to get through this. Jesus walked in the supernatural most of the time that he was on this planet. But he was a man. He felt pain. He understood what we went through, what the human condition is. When Jesus raised Lazarus, first thing he did, he wept, right? He understood the grief that family, that Martha was going through. And miracles and these fantastic revelations that happen in the Bible, they don't happen every day to everybody. And I know many of us would love to be knocked off a horse like Paul and instantly have a revelation of everything and understand it all. But those things don't happen to everybody all the time. So how does a miracle happen in your life, in our life? How is Jesus revealed to us? How do we find that personal relationship? How can we truly be affected and take this in our life every day? And I believe that the trials and the tribulations, the beauty of your backyard, the loving look from your spouse, the hug that your child gives you, that is Jesus. That is God revealing everything to us. So the way, as regular people, not the stars of the Bible, we're not Elijah, we're not, maybe we won't ever see Our Lady of Fatima, or rise up on a cloud to go to heaven. But we're given an opportunity every day in everything we do, in every interaction, to understand and have a little mini miracle in our life. So for me, that was where the strength to face this comes in. But the strength blossoms into something else. It blossoms into a total love of life. Now, through all of these challenges, I never lost my love of life. I never lost my desire to experience it all. And that is what I think, that's what the Lord wants for us on the face of this earth. We're going to experience the bad things, but He wants us to be happy. And we by letting those little miracles, recognizing them for what they are, we gain the strength that we need to go out every day and face the toughness of the world.
So powerful. I'm going to slide Bill in. And as Bill slides in, the question I have for you, and then Bill's taking over, what would you say to someone who's losing hope in their situation right now? So think about that for a minute. Let me get this handsome guy in here. I hope you're enjoying Lessons for Life with Dr. Ron. We're excited to be part of an Amazon Associate Program. We're going to be bringing some products to the table and some books for you to enjoy. And in fact, today, one of my mentors, near and dear to my heart, Pastor Sarah Gardner, this is her book, I've Seen Heaven. The bottom states Pastor Sarah's glorious journey to heaven and a life filled with supernatural encounters. So this is going to be attached below. Definitely would appreciate your support. If you pick this book up, she would appreciate it. Also, I just finished from Jed Hopinger, I believe it is. This is interesting. Fake Christianity. It says at the bottom, 10 traps of an inauthentic faith. An inauthentic faith and how to avoid them. So this is another book I'll attach below. I just completed it. It's by author Jed Hopinger. And so these two books will be attached. And again, I'm going to bring these things to the table. Your purchase of these books helps support this channel, and we really appreciate it. People ask me how I can give back, and certainly no better way. When we attach these links, you pay the same pricing, and it just helps support the channel. So again, I've Seen Heaven and Fake Christianity. And now back to the podcast.
Three handsome guys.
Absolutely.
We got King Candy in the house. My spiritual dad, Bill, love you. All right, so there's people watching right now. There's a lot going on. As we were talking before we turned the camera on, so much going on in our society with the shootings, church attacks, Christian attacks. We also talked about how this isn't something new that we've never seen before historically. But there's so many people watching that are in despair. We did a Hope in Hard Times last week that's going up right now. A video Bill and I did it. I said, I just feel like so many people feel a heaviness right now. I use the term a heaviness. And so there's people watching, many people watching. We all have our trials. We all have our troubles. But there's someone that's really losing hope right now. And I think you can give them a touch at this moment. What would you say? There's someone watching. They're really maybe thinking of taking their life right now as they're watching this video. Yeah. That to that extreme.
Yeah. Oh, these are heavy times that we live in. And we live in an age where information, whether it's accurate or not, is disseminated in moments across the globe. And what our society has done is it's created a virtual world that so many people live in. Social media, has its place, but it doesn't replace human contact. And so all of this, the wars, the economy. If you're feeling desperate and you're feeling hopeless, you need to take a step back. You need to take a deep breath. And there's no easy way out. But it starts with having some faith and realizing that somebody really loves you. And it may not feel that way, but if you open yourself to it and start to look for the light, with despair, there's joy. With sadness, there's light. With fear, there's hope. They are two sides of the coin. And it's easy for someone to say, well, just make the choice to be happy. Sometimes it's not that easy, especially when you feel the walls of the world are falling down around you. Reach out to someone. Find a loved one. Call a priest. but don't take your life. Not over despair, not over hopelessness. The world is full of both good and evil, and it's there for you. So look for it. Turn inside, find some hope and some light in yourself, and then ask someone to help you.
And so many times, and I'll have you comment, I'll hand this over to Bill, people are walking through situations and they're really stressed and have a ton of anxiety about things. And where I'm going with this is so much of it never even comes to fruition. So many things we worry about never even happen. And even the things that we faced, if you look back in the past, we're here today, we've walked through them. You, of course, have the extreme example of dismemberment. I mean, Bill and I, as in other episodes, haven't faced all these things. So you have, the perfect ability to tell it how it is, because you've lived that through that trial. But so many times things don't happen that people are always worried about.
Worry is the bane of our existence. It is what eats away at our positive attitude. It's what becomes self-fulfilling prophecies. Really, worry is not a good energy. You can be concerned and plan and want to take action, but worry is a negative emotion. It is what eats away at hope, and it was what brings us to our knees when evil comes along.
And the Bible says it doesn't give us any more time to worry, right?
Right.
About doesn't increase our longevity or give us any other time. Go ahead.
Okay,
Steal the show, Bill.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Richard, for sharing all that. That is awesome. What I get out of this, you just said, folks, you need to cry out when you need to cry out. Just like Richard said, when it gets so tough, I'm going to go over some other stuff, but you just mentioned that you just need to cry out. And there's people around you. Just get into a quiet room and cry out to God and listen to what he has to say. So awesome. What I get from you, Richard, is the biggest thing is your spirit. And your spirit. Without your spirit, you got a physical side and you got a spiritual side. You got attacked on your physical and you kept your spirit.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
And that's what it's really about. The spirit in people is what moves them along. And I met Richard a little over a year ago downstairs here at Seed to Table, and he was putting together a campaign to run for commissioner, one of our commissioners in Collier County. It was unsuccessful, but it was an experience for him.
Absolutely.
And I seen him downstairs, and I approached him. He had such a wonderful smile, and I asked him about his issue, what had happened, and we had started a conversation. Ron was there, and we hooked up, and I think the same time, maybe it was the same day, I don't remember.
It was.
That we had him on. And ever since then,
I was Shanghai to be.
You were Shanghai.
I was Shanghai.
That's right. But this is what Ron and I look for. We look for this because these are the testimonies that help people, help our kingdom. And that's what we're about. We're about taking care of our mission right here in Collier County. And Absolutely. You are too. You are too. Now, Richard went through an awful lot physically, an awful lot mentally, and kept his spirit going. Now, he is, hang on a second here. I want to make sure I say this right. Richard is really engaged and intertwined in his community as an insurance agent. 20 years?
20 years, yes.
20 years involved in his community. Not only involved in the community on insurance level, but on he opens his doors to weekend events. I think that's cool. So it intertwines you even more. In the insurance industry, we call it a book of business. He has a book of business of generations now. And he'll move into the generations of their families.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That's a great legacy to leave. He didn't give up. All this happened after his motorcycle accident.
I actually have something that I think is important for folks to also understand about this. So, overcoming my motorcycle accident was really just the first step. I was only 21 and I had a whole life ahead of me. That was 40 years ago. So the real lesson that I learned from surviving that motorcycle accident is that our potential is unlimited. You can do anything you want to do. So I became married. I raised two wonderful daughters. I started my own business. I was the last vice president of sales for Pitney Bowes that didn't have a college degree. I built my career on sales and service, and I play rock and roll music.
Yeah.
I you know, with one arm, I was able to find a way to play bass guitar and, you know, become again, we are not limited in what we can do and where we can go. And I was fortunate to learn an important lesson very early in my life. And as a result, I've been able to live a wonderfully full, rich life that I don't think anybody could look at and not be jealous of. And to have a wonderful family, a full life, and to be able to have done things that I wanted to do from when I was a little guy, you know. So I think that's really the hook on all of this, is that if we can walk through that door, and you don't do it alone, you don't walk through the door alone. If we can walk through that door, a world of beauty and joy opens up in front of us, and that's what the Lord wants for us. He doesn't want us to live in strife and suffering.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rich. I'm impressed, man. It's just
Goosebumps
gives me goosebumps, buddy.
Coming
Gives me
out.
goosebumps. No, it's so good, you know, because you could have got caught up in the world. You could have got
Absolutely.
caught up in the
Absolutely.
sorrow of what had happened.
Yep.
This is a choice you make. It's not a.
It is a choice. It is a
and
conscious decision.
It's awesome that you reflect on your early age faith and spiritualism and love from your parents. And I'm proud of you, and I love you, and got hugs. And people don't grow up with that.
No, I'm very fortunate.
You know,
Very fortunate.
very fortunate. The last couple people we've had on, Ron, they're very sensitive. Men are sensitive and tender. We need to realize this. We are.
We have emotions and
Yeah,
hearts and
you know,
souls. We're not, the machines.
We're loving creatures.
From
That's right.
an early age, we're taught as men to man up. Men don't cry. Men don't do this. Yes, we do, and we do today.
And you can be a brave, strong man,
Courageous. That's right.
and not be bereft of emotion. And that is truly what's courageous, when you can open up your heart and show your spouse and your family and your friends that you're a real person with feelings. Yeah.
Man, I can't.
We're solving the
read that
world's
anymore.
problems here, right?
No, I mean,
I hope that you're enjoying this.
Yeah, I am.
seriously, it's about spirit. Richard has a marvelous and a wonderful and an awesome, and I always tell Ron, I wish there was a bigger word than awesome, because sometimes things are just bigger than awesome. You know, and this is-
Expialidocious.
I'm telling you.
Supercalifragilistic.
Supercalifragilistic.
Expialidocious.
But these are the kind of things that Ron and I want to bring to you, and Richard wants to bring to the world. These things can happen. You're never defeated unless you allow your spirit to defeat you. Richard talked about getting down, letting things in. Once you leave that opening for the devil, he'll take it. He's waiting for it. That's all he has to live for, is that opening to get into you, to pull you
Absolutely.
away from your faith. His faith has brought him this far. His faith has brought him into an opportunity now in your, I'm going to call them golden years. Let's call them.
I think all our years are golden years, to be honest,
they
right?
are,
They are golden.
But right now you're starting. We talked a little.
about.
We talked. Yeah, right. We talked a little earlier about what you're doing now. You're getting engaged in a little bit of. Some people would call it selfishness, but it's not. It's me time. It's
Yeah.
time. I'm doing the things that I wanted to do. Like you said, when you were a child, I wanted to have a go-kart track, or I wanted to have a big yard, or I wanted to have a garden, or you know what I mean? I wanted to be
Absolutely.
able to go outside.
Absolutely.
And in Florida, we enjoy a wonderful weather all year round, partly why we live here. And it's good for your health. It's good for your mind. It's good for your being. It's good to get grounded. It's good to walk barefoot in the ground, on earth, and feel it and touch it with your hands. Richard is starting to do that in his life. It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
You've overcome so much. You've created so much. You have a legacy. You've created a legacy. Your community loves you. Your family loves you.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, we have guests over
Richard's wife and friend are here. I mean, I think that's awesome. Friend, correct? You're not a sister-in-law or anything. Okay. So it's awesome to have people support him, and he supports a lot of people. And that's what it is. Here in Collier County, Richard is one of the standouts, and that's what we're about here, is letting you know what goes on in our community, which what you can create very similar things in your community. With all the stuff that's going on in the world, which what we talked about, every day there's something new, every day there's some new, you just got to listen to this kind of thing. But yet every day there's a mission that we can perform in our own community every day when we walk out, every store we walk into, every interaction we have that we need to take. So not only for yourself, this is for your community. This is for your brothers and your sisters. And it's what Jesus wants us to do, what God charged him to do for us, is give us his Holy Spirit along with this flawed humanity to make it through the day. He struggled with it. We struggle with it too. But we are spiritual beings. Richard, you're one of the most wonderful spiritual beings.
Well, thank you so much, Bill. I really appreciate that. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
The greatest part about this, so I called him Rock and Roll Rich. I didn't even know if that was even a thing. So the best part about that I just learned a second ago, that was just me being silly. I have my little introductions. I called him Rock and Roll Rich. I even give my patients nicknames. I love that. So that was wonderful. The Holy Spirit dumped that on me.
My nickname is the Wolf.
The Wolf.
When I'm
Can
playing
you imagine?
music, yeah.
Oh, very good.
Richard talked about an interesting thing I want to quickly circle back to that I think is really powerful. You talked about relationship. So many people are dialed into religion. And one of the things I was gifted long ago was it's not about a man-made religion. It's about building a relationship. And you talked about that. Can you talk just a moment on that again, just for those that are trying to find their way in their faith?
Absolutely. So
It's powerful.
So, we look back in our lives and there are tipping points. There are events, things that happen that changed our world forever. So when I asked Jessica to marry me, she had 2 daughters. She had a 8-year-old daughter named Caitlin and a 3-year-old daughter named Emma. And I was 30 years old, and I had spent that time from when I was 21 until 30 working it out, finding myself again, and understanding that any limits that I was going to place on myself were just limits I placed on myself. So I was really touched. Jessica and I took Caitlin to a Broadway play, and it's called The Secret Garden. And I don't know if you know that play, but it's a beautiful play about children. And Caitlin fell asleep through the play, and I was overcome with emotion. I felt like I have a family now. And I realized at that moment that in order for me to become a man, I had to put myself in 3rd place. Gail Sayers writes a book, I Am Third. And I'm not going to go over the book, but if you want to be inspired, read Gail Sayers' book, I Am Third. He talks about what it means to be a man. And a man is, we're on this earth to serve. That's what a man's place is. That's why we feel most whole and most complete when we're building things, doing things, serving. When I became a husband and father, my life changed because my focus was no longer on me. Now my focus was on those girls and my wife. And I was no longer the most important thing. And when that happened to me, the trajectory in my life changed. When I realized that the way is to put yourself 2nd or 3rd and to put others first, especially the ones that you love most. God, your family, your friends. And my life changed. And as odd as it seems, our instinct is no, in order for me to get ahead, I got to take care of me. But it works the other way. And when I became a husband and father, my life changed because I understood what my place was in this world. And everything else, I don't want to say magically, but everything else fell into place when I realized that that's what I'm working for now.
Jesus and God charges us with what we're here for, just like you just said. And it's kind of like you don't know who you are until you know whose you are.
Yeah.
You're his.
Yeah.
You're his servant.
Yeah.
You're his, as a man, you're his leader, you're his provider, you're his organizer, You're his shepherd to his sheep. I mean, it's all it. We were charged with, okay, I'm going away now, but I'm coming back, and you're in charge. We got to do our job.
That's right. That is our job.
Do our job, and you've done your job.
Well, I hope so. I work hard at it every day. Yeah.
Wow. Rock and roll rich. The title was From Pain to Purpose, From Loss of a Limb to Love of the Lord, How Richard Found Christ and Navigated Life. If this hasn't touched you, I don't know what will. And we're almost done, but we're not done. We passed our 45-minute mark, but we have a few final questions about. This is called Lessons for Life. So we have a few life lessons to still give.
Okay.
And the question I have is, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
I would say be prepared for July 31st, 1985.
Wow.
I would like to have my arm back, but that was my being knocked off my horse by God. That had to happen in my life in order for me to find my way. So I would tell my younger self, brace up, man. It's going to be a rough ride, but you're going to be all right.
Shoo! Unbelievable. During those times, how did you stay positive? The question that I have is for those listening that are suffering from illness and loss. What would be your message? We've covered a lot of this, but I just want some closing thoughts as to those that are just experiencing what you've expressed at age 21. They're going through it right now. They need a couple more words from you. They want to hear more.
This is temporary. It's not forever. And you have a choice. Maybe not to automatically fix what's going on in your life, but you have a choice in how you perceive it. And our perspective is everything. And this may sound simple-minded, but it's the truth. Look at everything through positive eyes. And that doesn't mean that you dismiss the situation you're in or that you don't deal with the situation you're in, but you approach life with a certain lightheartedness that you're going to be able to get through it. Now, it doesn't mean that it fixes itself. You need to take that belief and that faith and take action and do the things that we know what the right thing to do is. We know that we can get through this. We have to take the action. And for many folks, they want to pray and they want to believe and they want to do all the things that are easy to do. And nothing good or worthwhile is ever easy. So it's going to be hard. But what we get in return for that is we get to be triumphant. We get to overcome those things. And each time it's a notch on our belt. And if we keep the perspective right, I mean, how in the world can anything destroy my life now? I've been through so many things. And if my life ends now and tomorrow, well, that's what was supposed to happen. But I'll be ready to go on to what is supposed to happen next. This life, in my opinion, it's our preparation for our final moment, for our final judgment. And we need to be the very best person, the strongest person that we can be, because it's a big deal when you die and you go to face your maker. So you need to have faith, and you need to just realize that all of these things are tests and you can get through them. And each time you do, you gain the strength to take on the next one.
Awesome. We're done, but not yet. I got one thing to follow, because that was a close. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about Jesus Christ.
Well, I have to tell you that I'm not an organized religion guy, Ron. Right. And I believe that spirituality is such a personal thing. And I believe I walk with Jesus. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. Jesus was about humility. Jesus was about turning the other cheek. Jesus was about charity. The Jewish people believed that the Messiah was a general, that he was going to come with swords and an army, and he was going to strike down all the enemies of Israel and restore Israel to what it was. They didn't understand. The Messiah is a personal thing, and the victory that we have is over death. Not the death that we're going to die, but the living death that people live in here. The strife, the sadness, the despair. Jesus gives me hope. He gives me strength. I walk with him, and I try to be like Jesus. I don't know what else to say. Love your brother, love yourself, and these things will pass. And true faith is always going to be tested. And I don't know what else to tell you, but
the salt and light.
All right.
That's right. And remember, true faith, it's the sun's going to come up in the morning. We're going to be able to breathe air every day. We're going to get fed every day. All the things in the Lord, it all happens. We just have to believe that.
Yep. And
just like the light comes up every morning.
Absolutely.
Well, if you watched all the way to 53 minutes, we are proud of you. I know that this was something that touched you. Good job. Please share this. You have a son or daughter, I always say this, a family member that could be touched by this, that will be touched by this. And we'd also love comments. If there's something you'd like us to talk about, another guest you'd like us to have on the show, we really appreciate comments. We already said we'd love you to smash that like button, go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. Since many of you have not done that for us, when you ask what you can do, just hit the subscribe button. We thank our sponsors right now for this episode, BetterHelp. We appreciate you. And any of the links below through our Amazon Association or Amazon Associates. As again, you look to find ways to support us, that's certainly some ways you can help out. You'll see links below. And again, we'd like to close. I hope that, again, this touched you deeply. I am profoundly grateful for Rock and Roll Rich. This was amazing. I knew it was going to be totally amazing. It was better than I even ever would have thought it would have been, even though his first little episode with us a year ago was profound as well. And again, we appreciate you taking all this time to spend with us. And we're going to close with our declaration. So we're going to repeat after me. I am blessed.
I am blessed.
Highly favored.
Highly favored.
Empowered to prosper.
Empowered to prosper.
And walking in divine health.
And walking in divine health.
All the days of my life.
All the days of my life.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
With that, Rock and Roll Rich.
All right, man.
We're signing off.
Peace, brothers.
That's right.